Hello lovely yoga students and welcome to this week's video. So this week we are looking at two different types of watery animals, so we're still on the water theme, and today we are looking at the dolphin and the seal. So although they're quite different, they have things about them that are quite similar, and one of them is their affinity with humans. So if you come to the lesson this week, we'll be looking at that and looking at the spirit of the creatures a bit more, but this is just the postures, or it's some of the postures, it's not all of them. So if you want to join me, make sure you've got a mat and possibly a block or a cushion, but other than that you don't need any props. So come and join me on the mat. So we're going to begin seated on the mat like this. So I've got a block underneath my bottom just to help me to sit up a little bit, and hands on the knees here to begin with, looking forwards. And we're going to start by just bringing the arms around in big circles, so a couple of times backwards, and then we're going to reverse it the other way. We're going to do a bit more with the arms in the class, but for here we're just going to leave it at that. And then we're going to take our hands to our knees, keeping the feet rooted on the ground. We're going to just take the body back. So we're doing a bit of abs here. So taking the body back as far as it will go. And then we're going to come forward and we're going to kind of pull ourselves forward, look up. So we're pulling through the front of the body, looking up, the chest is opening. Just doing that a couple more times, just with your breath. So inhaling, coming forward, pushing the chest forward, exhaling, going back. Last time coming forward. Beautiful. Then we're going to take the block away and we're going to lie down on the back into semi-supine with the heels behind the bottom. And we're going to begin by just raising the arms up and over to touch the floor behind us. You can bend the elbows if you can't reach. And coming back down on the exhale. So inhaling up and exhaling down. Beautiful. Then we're going to just take the arms out to shoulder height, and we're just going to drop the knees one way and look over the opposite arm. Couple of breaths there. Then raising up to the top and going the other way. Couple of breaths there. So if that feels quite strong for you, stick with that. If you want something a bit stronger, we're just going to cross the first leg over the second and just do the same thing again. It's a lot stronger. So it might be that it's good for you, it might not be. So coming back over, crossing the other leg over, and going the other way. Beautiful. Then we're going to come back to the centre, bring the arms down to the bottom. We're going to do something that's a little bit different. So we're going to breathe in, bringing the arms up and over the head and the feet up to the ceiling. But we're bending the knees first. The hands might not reach the ground. If they don't, that's fine. And then exhaling, bending the knees first. And then here we're going to take them right out. So we're going to breathe in, raising the arms up, taking the feet to the ceiling. Exhaling, bringing the hands all the way down and taking the feet, the pointing feet. So this is a little bit of abs, it's not too much. Beautiful. So then we're going to roll over onto one side. So rolling over onto one side, and we're going to come up to a long cat. So padding the knees if you want to, if you feel you need it. And so we're in a cat, but we're taking the hands quite far forward compared to normal. And we're just going to do this is just because of the longness of the bodies of these creatures. So inhaling, breathing in, exhaling, taking the spine to the floor. So a couple more of those. And then once you've done your couple more, we're going to begin to take some organic movements. So bringing the body right forward, not dumping the hips, but just coming forward all the way back. Maybe taking some figure of eights and coming down onto the elbows a little bit here. And we're going to be moving forwards and backwards with the elbows down. This is the preparation for Dolphin, because Dolphin is on the forearms like this. Beautiful. So just moving the body around, remembering still moving the spine around. Lovely. Great. So then we're going to come up to the dog. So we've just done the cat, we're going to do the dog now. So coming forward, tucking the toes, lifting up the hips, coming into the dog. So having the feet about hip width apart, knees a little bit bent to begin with. And as we exhale, we're just dropping the shoulders towards the knees, trying to be relaxed in this pose. It's not easy to be relaxed. And then we can just walk out one heel and then the other. So bending the other leg and just walking the heel out. So as always, if you want to spend some more time in any of these things that we're doing, just pause the video and spend a bit more time. So we're going to come forward now. So keeping the hand, we might need to just wiggle the feet a little bit further back. So coming into the plank. So trying to be fairly plankish here. If this is too much weight in the hands, bring the knees down so that you're still in this plank. You can sort of, I can see I've got my bottom up, so you can kind of bring your bottom a bit further down to make yourself, so it's still a bit of weight in the hands, but it's not as much as when you've got the knees lifted. And then from here, if you've got the knees up and you want to do some abs, you can do it from there. You can do the same from your knees, but you're just doing it through like that. It's kind of still working, but just not quite as challenging as this. I'm just going up and down a few times. It's always good to have a little bit of abs. And then we just come back and rest the hands a little bit. We've done a bit on the hands. It's always good to be doing a little bit of hand yoga. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come and lie right down on the front. We're going to take feet out to the sides. You're not going to be able to see both of my hands, but coming out with your hands going out at a sort of diagonal above. You put the head down, and then from here what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out through one hand and stretch out through the opposite foot. So we're stretching out, so going in a diagonal stretching and let go, and then stretching through the other one. So it's only a small movement and let go, stretching. So trying to keep all the rest of the body sort of relaxed as you just do opposite leg and arm and fingers and toes. Beautiful. Then from here we're going to bring the feet together and we're going to come into a little cobra. So you're going to bring the hands next to the sort of boob area, head down, and then from here trying to keep the elbows in, just lifting head and shoulders, trying to keep the feet on the floor, and exhale. So inhaling, lifting up, and exhale. So just go to where you can go. You might not be able to lift up very far. You might be going much further than me. Whatever. Just lifting up. And then we're going to bring the hands out onto the fingertips, either side of the body. We're going to just do the same thing, but you can put a tiny bit of weight, not much, tiny bit of weight into the fingertips. Just see if you can come up a little bit higher. So this is just as a bit of a back bend. It's also really helping to work the muscles of the back, trying to keep the feet down Lovely. And then from here, we're going to take the hands back out again at this sort of diagonal shape. But then what I need to move a bit so I can get my hand up. So, but then from here, we're going to walk the hands back and we're going to have the feet together and we're going to lift up on the hands so we can put some weight into the hands. This is a little modified seal. So I'm only coming up a little way. I've got my hands quite a long way out. And so I've got some weight in the hands, but I'm also lifting right up from the pubic bone here. And then relaxing down. Right, so we can take a little rest here for a moment, coming back into the, I'm taking my glasses off because they're getting terribly steamed up. So coming back into the child here, just having a little rest. Then from here we're going to come to all fours and we're going to just do a little bit of the dolphin just in a dynamic way so you don't have to stay here for long. So coming with the elbows on the ground and the forearms coming straight out in front. Nice sunray fingers, tucking the toes so the knees are hip width apart and the feet are hip width apart. And then from here we're going to inhale and then exhale and just lift the hips and drop down. So we're just taking a breath up and a breath down. So you could actually inhale up and exhale down. So if you want to do some more of that, it can be, when you first do this, it can feel really challenging. Yeah, so don't try and stay there at the moment, just be moving up and down dynamically. Okay, I'm going to have to put my glasses on to see what's next. Lovely. So we are going to do a little sequence now. So if you don't feel like you've kind of got what we've been doing there, then just work with that a little bit more. What we're going to do is we're going to work with all of the things that we've done, but in a little sequence. So we're going to start by coming up. I better keep my glasses on in case I don't know what we're doing. So coming up to the dog, and then from here we're coming forward to the plank and then dropping down. Now this might not be possible, so you can drop the knees and then do this, coming down, coming up to the cobra, then taking the hands out, coming up to the seal. So you can have your hands quite a long way up and keep it modified like we were before, or you can bring them in a bit further and come a bit further into the seal. Then we're going to bring the hands back, coming back to the child, and then from here dropping the elbows and hands and coming up to the dolphin. Right, so we're going to do that again, but we're going to, with each posture, we're going to take a couple of breaths, so it'll be a little bit longer. Okay, so starting in all fours, tucking the toes, coming up to the dog. Couple of breaths. Then we're going to come forward to the plank, couple of breaths here. Dropping the knees if you need to. Then we're going to come down, either on the knees or straight down like this. Then up into the cobra. Couple of breaths here if you can. Then we're going to take the hands out and lift up into the seal. Couple of breaths here. So then we're going to drop down, bring the hands in, come back to the child. So this is a bit of a counter pose. Dropping the head. Couple of breaths here. Then we're going to drop the elbows, sun ray fingers, tucking the toes and coming up into the dolphin. Couple of breaths here. So, and then coming down and just dropping down into the child again for a moment. Beautiful. So you might want to go over that sequence a couple more times. Then just come down onto the mat, dropping down. And we can just come up into Apanasana, so taking the head down, taking the knees in the hands and rocking from side to side. And then if you want to, just dropping the knees over to one side, taking the hand in the other direction. Couple of breaths here. These are just some little counter poses. Coming up the other way. All the way down the other side. It might be that you just want to keep both feet on the ground and just do an easier version of this. And then from here, we're just going to come down, taking the feet out a little bit, hands down onto the mat into your Shavasana with the hands facing up. Eyes closed, try and just relax, at least for a couple of minutes. So stay here as long as you want to. So, as it's just said there, thank you very much for practicing with me, and I might see some of you in the week. It would be lovely if you wanted to join me. There's a big storm out here and they're talking about snow again, but we will see. Thank you again. Bye.